and beyond them the thatch of the lodge and outbuildings was obliterated by licks of flame and churning black smoke. Cautiously, swords drawn, Oliver and Gawain abandoned the cover of the trees and approached the stockade. A man's body sprawled across the gateway. There was a gaping wound in his throat, and he had been stripped of every garment but the loincloth that he had stained in his death throes. A large black hound lay nearby, its breast split open. Gawain grimaced and looked around nervously. "Best leave. There's nothing we can do here, and whoever did this must still be close." Ignoring him, Oliver entered the compound. Smuts of soot soared on a fire wind, and gusts of heat belched at him. Bodies were strewn haphazardly across the courtyard, butchered in flight, to judge from the number of wounds to the back. The armed and the unarmed, men, women, and children. Fluid filled Oliver's mouth, and he tightened his grip on the hilt of his sword. It was either that or hurl the weapon as far from himself as he could. Not in 3 years of wandering amongst the wildest places on God's earth have I ever seen such as this, he said hoarsely. "Better grow accustomed, then." There was a quiver in Gawain's voice that gave the lie to the callous words, and his free hand groped for the cross around his neck. Oliver moved on. A shining mass of golden hair drew him to the body of a woman. She lay on her back, her legs flung wide. Her eyes were open, staring blindly. Her cheekbone was swollen, and her lip was puffed and split, but she was still breathing. "God's mercy!" Oliver fell to his knees at her side. "Amice! Amice? Can you hear me?" "You know her?" Gawain's voice was appalled. "From a long time ago," Oliver said without looking round. "She was one of Earl Robert's wards at the same time as my wife. If circumstances had been different, I might have married her instead of Emma." "Jesu's pity! I do not believe this!" He closed her legs and pulled her gown back down over her stained, bloody thighs. The woman turned her head and focused on Oliver, but there was no recognition in the dark sapphire eyes. Gawain tugged at the close-cropped beard edging his jaw. "How badly is she hurt?" "I don't know. Knocked down and raped, as far as I can tell. We can't leave her here. Go and fetch the horses." Her vacant stare was unnerving. Oliver well remembered their first meeting, for it was inextricably bound up in his memories of Emma. It had been the spring of 1129 in Earl Robert's garden, when he had encountered the girls, 2 giggling cousins of 14 and 15, playing with a ball. Amice, the older, had a sheaf of golden hair, ripe curves, and a way of looking through her lashes that turned a man's blood to steam. Emma, his future wife, was tiny and fey, with a smile that lit up her little pointed face and made it quite beautiful. He had been 15 too, a gangly youth in no hurry for the marriage that his family was foisting upon him. But Emma had changed all that. Now she was in her grave, with a stillborn daughter, whose 3-day bearing had been her death. The year of their wedding, Amice had become one of old King Henry's concubines, and had borne him a lusty son. It was the last Oliver had seen of her, if not heard, until now. "Go on, Gawain. Damn you, stop gawping and bring the horses," he repeated on a ragged snarl. When Gawain still did not move, Oliver raised his head and looked round, his lungs filling with a bellow. Then he too saw the young woman standing against the well housing, a wooden bowl.